So here's what I need to do kind of the everyday thing I have. This is Zofran. I already did this today, so I'm not going to do it again. So I'm setting it aside, but I would normally do that. These are vitamins. They're going to go in this bag. A syringe and a needle to put the vitamins in the bag. A new cap for the PICC Line. 2 flushes, one before, one after. The tubing for the line, and the alcohol wipes. And you can see here, hopefully, this is what it looks like in my arm. And now I will show you how to assemble all of this in a sanitary way. I'm not a medical professional by any means, but this is just what I do every day in order to keep these babies growing. Okay, so hopefully you can see everything here. I'm gonna open the bag first, and this is, well, they call it D5LR, so it's basically electrolytes, a little sugar, and the fluids needed for my IV. These are both the vitamin vials. You can see that. Those are gonna go into the line. So what we're gonna do, I already washed my hands and I use hand sanitizer. We are going to open the syringe. This is a 10 milliliter syringe. Sanitary field here, and then we're going to open the needle, and this actually just screws on. So if I had a medication that needed to go directly into my line, which is right here, this actually, the needle screws off and this screws right onto the line. So that would take care of that issue, but we're not doing that today, we're just doing those. So this is all ready. I'm going to keep the cap on because it's sanitary, and there are 2 vials. I'm going to grab an alcohol wipe. Clean it off for 15 seconds, which seems like a really long time, so I'll probably fast forward this in the video. Okay, now we're gonna take off the cap, pull it back 5 mils, because that's how much of the first vial there is. So we're gonna pull it back 5 mils, that's just air. Turn it around, push in the air, and just let go. And as you can see, the vitamins are filling in the tube. Sometimes you kind of have to mess with it a little bit just to make sure it's happening exactly as needed. And now, because this is a 10 ml vial and it's going to have all of my antibiotics in it, or not antibiotics, sorry, vitamins, I'm going to use it again. So I'm going to put the cap on, set it down, use another alcohol swab. Whenever you open any type of vial of medication, you need to use an alcohol swab. So do the same thing as last time, 15 seconds. Alright, now we're going to take the cap off, pull this down. We've already got 5 mils in there. We're going to pull it down past the 10 just to make sure we have enough air pressure. I'll try to put this up close so you can see it. This one's kind of more colorful, so it's a little more interesting. Okay, so it's going to pull it back into my syringe. And I'm pulling it out a little as I go because it doesn't quite go to the bottom. Okay. Now what we're going to do next is take the fluids, and now we have the blue opening, which is clogged. This is going to hook up to our line when we actually hang it up, and then this one is for any type of additives to go into your bag. So you never ever want to touch the end of this. You want to keep it sanitary, but since I just took it out of the bag, it's already sanitary. I'm going to take my vitamins and go ahead and put those in. And you'll see now that it's going to turn into like a Mountain Dew-like substance. And we never want to shake the bag. We only want to put it back and forth a little bit to mix it, because the more you shake it, the more air bubbles you have to deal with when you're hooking up your line. Alright, so there we are with that. Now normally I would put the Zofran on Dancitron in next. But since I used it this morning directly into my line, I'm not going to do that. However, I am going to use another medication that deals with nausea directly in my line, and I will record that after I have this bag ready and show you how I do it. So the next thing we're going to do is prime the line. So you open this. This is your tubing. You want to keep everything shut. Don't mess with it at all. Kneeling because it goes faster, but I'm going to grab the pole. Okay, I've got the pole. I'm going to hang it up there. What I'm going to do first is grab my line, and whenever you get the continue flow tubing, it's going to be open. So if you can see this, that's open. That means it's going to run freely. So you want to close that first, otherwise your fluids are just going to fly through the line and spill everywhere, which nobody wants. So we're going to keep this end closed, and this is the end that's going to spike the bag with. So I'm going to try to do it right in front here. This blue one's going to come off, and then this is going to come off. This is the end of your tubing. We're going to stick it in here, and now not everybody does this, but this is what my nurse taught me to do, so I do this. I push it in just until it breaks the seal, and then I actually pull it out. I don't touch the end. I just squeeze out that excess air in my bag, because then when we get to the end of the bag, we're not sitting on air trying to finish up our infusion. So we're going to flip it over now, and because I already closed this, it's not going to run through on its own, so I'm going to squeeze it twice. Okay, there we go. We got that. Now I'm going to hang this up on the bag, and then I'm going to get it hooked up to my PICC line, and I'll show you how to do that now. Alright, so we have the line all hooked up and ready to go. This is the end of it, and it goes all the way up through the tube. Now what I'm going to do next is prime the line. So this is the bag that the line came in. I'm going to put the end in here. The end is still open. And now remember this piece that I told you to close so that it wouldn't just run straight through the line. We're going to open this a little bit. And I can't move the camera right now because I don't have that kind of skill, but it's going to come through the line slowly. I'm not sure if you can see this here. See, it's coming through the line. There's some air bubbles. Those are going to get pushed out of your line. They're going to come all the way down to the end in this bag. And when you see it come to the end, which is what I'm watching for, you are going to then close your line. Okay, it's come all the way through the end. I'm looking at the whole line. There's a few more air bubbles that are coming down, so I'm going to wait for those to go through. Alright, now those air bubbles are basically gone. Little champagne air bubbles are totally safe. They're not going to hurt you, but some people prefer to have none, so you can do that too. As you can see, a little bit came out in this bag, but that's okay. We're just going to toss it, and we're going to leave this covered end as is until we're ready to hook up the line because it's safer to do it that way. So, here is my PICC line. I'm going to pull out the tubing. This is an alcohol port cover, sterile end that covers it up. I'm going to take this off, open an alcohol wipe. Basically everything you do needs an alcohol wipe, so have hundreds of these on hand, and I'm not even kidding when I say hundreds. I have hundreds of these. So, alright, now every time you put something in your line, you need to flush it first. This is a 10 ml flush. Comes sealed, ready to go. What I'm going to do here is pull it back and push it up just a little to make sure there's no air in it. I'm going to connect that to my line. And there's kind of discrepancies on how to apply this, but I kind of do a plunging motion like this. You can taste it in your mouth sometimes if you've done it before. Alright, so there's that. My flush is done. I sanitized. I'm ready. I'm going to take this off, pull out my tubing, which is going to prove to be a little difficult. Okay. Normally I would not clean off the tubing, but I feel like my finger might have touched it a little, so I want to be safe. Alright, we're going to attach the tubing, take this guy here, and I'm going to open it all the way. It's going to be a fully bolus. Fluid bolus means it's going with gravity, so the higher up your fluids are, the more quickly they will infuse. Now, so here's our line. We have the fluids running bolus, which bolus means by gravity. And it's going to look pretty slow right now because it's just sitting, you can see how far from the ceiling. The higher you have these fluids, the faster they will run. So at this speed, it would probably take me about 2.5 hours to get through this bag of fluids, but I am going to set it up on the ottoman and make it take about an hour and 10 to 15 minutes. And then as soon as that's done, I'll show you how we do the direct PICC line medication. A little hard to see because I'm far away, but this is up on the ceiling now on the ottoman. You can see how much faster it's actually dripping. So this will decrease my infusion time by probably about 45 minutes to an hour. So I generally try to do this or hang it on the ceiling.